instantaneous gratification. That $1 million phrase is all about getting what you want immediately. Unless we're talking about a fast food hamburger, it's probably not a realistic expectation. Perhaps on a purely intellectual level, we all know that. But we still want money, success, popularity, whatever it is, right now. Seeking after unrealistic expectations often has undesirable consequences, even in mainframe.
Bob! Hurry! Big cannonballs! Big powder! It's our only hope!
Shh.
What are you doing? That won't even make a dent!
Trust me. Game over.
Quality shot.
Deleted him, huh?
Yeah.
Enzo the Smart was written by Mark Hoffmeyer and Lane Richard, with story by Mark Edens, Brendan McCarthy, and Ian Pearson. The main cast includes Michael Benier as Bob, Kathleen Barr as Dot, Jesse Moss as Enzo, and Michael Donovan as Cecil, Fawn, and Mike the TV. We join our heroes already deep in the game as the episode opens, a sort of Napoleonic-era tower defense game. After seeing Dot's tower get blown away, Enzo decides that bigger is better, and sets up a massive cannon with the biggest cannonball they can find. Unfortunately, it's so heavy, it just falls out of the cannon. Then we see the scene with Bob, and Enzo gets pretty glum as a result. We scene shift back to the diner, where all are celebrating Bob's victory in the game, and him and Dot notice Enzo sitting alone, looking really down. When they ask him about it, he admits to feeling really stupid, because he couldn't figure out how to win the game. He deprecates himself, as one tends to do when they are feeling dumb, and Bob and Dot try to comfort him, by saying that he's just a kid and he'll learn in time. Enzo, daunted by the idea that he'd have to wait to get smart, goes to see Fawn for a different solution. Yeah, okay.
Perhaps you will try later, my son. As you know, I can only download wisdom to those who beat me at my game.
Of course I'd lose. I'm as basic can get. I'm low-res, downsized, erasable, hardly worth a backup. Someone should undo me and...
Enzo!
Yes?
Come. You did not win my game, but maybe I can help anyway.
I always wondered what Fawn would have said or done if Enzo had won, but I suppose that will have to be for the fanfiction. Fawn leads Enzo into a cozy back room hidden behind a metal door, which contains a single large vid window. This is Mainframe's read-only room, essentially the city's archives. Fawn tells Enzo if he promises not to touch anything or go anywhere else, he can stay here and read. Fawn repeats this instruction multiple times, so no bonus points for guessing that Enzo disobeys it very quickly. Enzo soon grows bored of reading and asks the computer to just make him smarter. The computer explains that to do that, the clock speed has to be altered. It leads him to the mysterious clock room.
Welcome to the mainframe clock speed room. Do you wish to be twice as smart as everyone now? Or later?
Now!
Processing request.
Whoa! What's happening? Hey, I'm not any faster. I'll crash it all.
As Enzo exits out, he notices, as he describes, everything has gone 8-bit. And indeed, it has. In a brilliant visual gag, everyone but Enzo has had the resolution lowered. And not just that, everyone seems to have become an idiot. Fawn is seen banging into walls repeatedly, and when Enzo returns to the diner, everyone there, Bob and Dot included, cheer him for figuring out how to open the door. Uh-oh. Bob and Dot act like complete fools. Bob even attacking a mailman that walks in.
Sorry about that. I don't know what got into him. Dot, what's wrong with Bob? Hello? Enzo to Dot, come in?
Out for sale. Best price in town.
No way. This isn't a game. I did this. And I didn't make myself any smarter. I made everyone else dumber.
Show off.
Realizing his terrible mistake, Enzo grabs a zipboard and starts rushing back towards the principal office to reset the clock speed. Bob, Dot, and a few binomes go from not being able to open a door to suddenly following on another zipboard because plot demands it. And much to Enzo's horror, a GameCube drops on top of them all. They find themselves in an unnamed Olympic sports game, making this the first episode with 2 games in the same story. Enzo muses that Mike the TV, who is acting as the game's announcer, hasn't been affected at all, because he can't get any dumber. Mike gives the skinny on the game.
In the first series of events, the athletes will rack up as many points as they can. The more, the better. But wait, there's more! These scores determine the starting positions in the winner-take-all final event. The Eliminator! Whoever wins the Eliminator wins the game.
But now, another word from our sponsor.
Did you hear that? We've got to score as many points as possible, or we're all wiped out.
Enzo, unfortunately, has rebooted as the coach, and as such must rely on the others to actually do the events. This goes exactly as you might expect. Not only do the mainframers lose, but they humiliate themselves. Luckily for him, only the final race matters for winning or losing. All the other events, which include shot put, pole vault, and basketball, are just for determining pole position. All the visual gags you can stomach are in this sequence. As Bob hits himself in the head with a rock, Dot slam dunks one of the 0 binomes instead of the basketball, and Bob grabs a pole and just runs continuously for the rest of the game instead of jumping. Mike does his best to make Enzo feel horrible in the most hilarious way possible.
It's time for the Eliminator, Enzo, and the user is going to be almost impossible to beat. Because of his high point total, he's starting with a big lead. The mainframers could lose the game, the entire sector could be wiped out, and we'll all be mindless nulls. How do you feel right now?
What a ridiculous question! How do you think I feel? I feel rotten!
I see. And what are your strategic plans for the rest of the game?
Strategic plans? I'm just gonna try to win, that's what! And I'm not gonna let my team ruin it either!
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and you heard it here first. Coach Enzo is entering the game!
With Enzo taking to the track to race the user, the rest of his team standing around, and Bob literally running around holding a pole from the vaulting event, the race starts. There's a standard track and field segment, a pinball section, yeah, don't ask, a zipline section, a roller skate section, and a final gauntlet over lava. What a course. The user's head start is magnified by the idiot mainframers, repeatedly getting in Enzo's path. Uh-oh.
I'm jamming now!
We are helping! We are helping!
Ah!
We Are Helping will be the name of my punk band. Anyways, the race is obviously not going very well for poor Enzo, and the user quickly makes it to the final area, as Mike informs both him and the audience. Mike starts to panic, and Enzo reflects on his options.
This is hopeless! I wonder what Bob would do. I mean the smart Bob. That's it! The smart Bob would use his brains! I had to transfer all of you to the user's team because he really needs your help to make it to the finish line.
Really?
I've got some ground to make up.
With this clever ploy, Enzo continues to gun it for the end, and just as the user is approaching the finish line, all of the mainframers basically tackle him and sabotage his efforts, and Enzo is able to zoom past him and win the game at the last moment. As soon as the game ends, he returns to the clock room to set everything right.
I hope you learned you should always pay attention to the road signs.
What in the network are you talking about?
Shortcuts lead to dead ends, my son.
Wait a minute. You knew all along, didn't you?
What? Were you talking to me?
I learned a lot, Fong. More than I wanted, but thanks anyway. You're not gonna catch me getting smart all at once. No way!
In the final scene, we see Enzo reading at the diner, and then taking a break, as he learns getting smart takes time. And perhaps, when Fawn tells you not to do something, don't do it. This is the polar opposite of the first episode for me. In earlier tales like The Tarring, I mentioned the lack of lessons learned or meaningful consequences, but praised the fun story and amazing characters all the same. Here, the message is clear, and delivered in such a cool and clever way. But, I don't know, something about the execution just rubs me the wrong way. And part of it is making Enzo the focus again, but that's very minor. Enzo's a good character, and this is a show that was aimed towards younger audiences. It's important to showcase the child character once in a while. No, the real issue I have is that Fawn would risk the system's well-being for the sake of proving a point. The scene near the end in the clock room seems to make it clear that Fawn knew what was going to happen, and might have even hoped Enzo would do it so he could learn. I mean, that's nice, I guess, but horribly irresponsible. To be fair, Fawn couldn't have known a game was going to drop, but still, everyone is aware that games can happen and that they're serious business. However, I will say this story is a ton of fun. The visual gag of actually making everything but Enzo low-res was genius. Pure genius. And the low-res Denzians of Mainframe were annoying and slapstick silly, but I get it. For a one-off concept, it's fine, and there were some great moments of hilarity as a result. The game played for the episode's third act was okay, and the first that didn't really get me super excited. But the sheer variety in the game so far is astounding. Great lesson learned, strange and roundabout way of teaching it. All in all, I give this tale 2 out of 3 fedoras.